We begin, though, with the push to prevent COVID outbreaks in classrooms as schools across the country prepare to welcome students back.
Health experts are warning of a perfect storm. Schools reopening without masks while the highly contagious Delta variant spreads. Now, an NBC News exclusive details on the Biden administration's push to vaccinate as many kids as possible in the coming weeks. We have a team of correspondents lined up to cover it all. NBC's Heidi Pryzbyla is outside the Department of Education. Catie Beck is in Atlanta for the first day of school there. Heidi, we want to start with you. As we've been discussing, a lot of school-age kids are too young to get vaccinated. Others are old enough, but they just haven't gotten the shot yet. Tell us about your reporting. How is the Biden administration hoping to target those who are eligible?
Yeah, Joe, a series of new back-to-school initiatives being rolled out today. First of all, if you play sports, you've got to get a physical. And when you go in for that physical, you're likely to be met with a new form and a push by your pediatrician due to this initiative, which is basically teaming up between sports organizations, including the National Olympic Committee and the American Academy of Pediatrics, to get more of these kids vaccinated. Up to 60 to 70% of kids participate in youth sports. So the administration thinks this is a pretty good way to try and reach them. The National PTA Association also pushing to have pediatricians come to those initial parent-teacher association meetings for back to school to try and encourage parents to get more kids vaccinated. And then finally, more resources for pop-up clinics in these weeks before going back to school. There is such a small window now to get more of these kids vaccinated. And yet right now, that number for children ages 12 to 17 is only about 29% vaccinated. And we're already seeing, for instance, in states where you've got this confluence of children with high spread in their communities, people not using masks, low vaccination rates, children being hospitalized, for instance, in states like Arkansas. That is the concern here among officials, because there are a number of states down there in the southeast where they've got all three of these factors working against them. And guys, I've talked to a number of top epidemiologists who say it could be as little as 3 weeks before we see outbreaks in these schools.
Yeah, well, let's go to the southeast. Catie, it is the first day of school there in Atlanta, a city that does have a mask mandate. What will the start of the school year look like there?
Well, Joe, it varies depending on where you are. If you're in Metro Atlanta, you're going to have kids wearing masks as they go to school today. And as you stated, there is an indoor mask mandate within the city of Atlanta. But if you drive just 8 miles down the road into Cobb County, the masks are optional. Parents are able to choose whether or not to mask their children. So there are mixed messages when it comes to what local jurisdictions and what the state messaging is on this. As for Atlanta, they will be wearing masks going back to school today. We talked to the superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools. Here's what she had to say.
I think it's pretty clear where we stand. Short of mandating something that I don't have the power to mandate, we're communicating, we're explaining why, we're working with our parents. We know what we need to do. Unfortunately, as you know, it's become politicized in some places, and we want to remove that. Let's make this about kids.
That's who we are in Atlanta Public Schools. And it is unfortunate and a little frustrating that it's both political and complex. But when it comes down to the responsibility of ensuring, or at least trying to execute the best decision in the best interest of the diversity of our organization, when I say that, I'm thinking of our families, I'm thinking of our workforce, I'm especially thinking of our children, including those 12 and under who are not eligible for vaccination.
Now, the superintendent says between 58 and 59% of the staff inside these schools have gotten their vaccines, but she wants that number to be higher. She is encouraging more students and more staff to get the vaccines by actually offering vaccines within a lot of these schools. As for the governor of the state of Georgia, he has said he opposes mask mandates and does not support what's going on here in Atlanta. Guys.
All right. So, Heidi, we just saw a little bit there of your interview with Education Secretary Miguel Cardona. What is he hoping for with these new initiatives? Does he think they're actually going to work?
He does. He says that he is optimistic, but he's also clear-eyed about the challenges that they face. As you heard him refer there to the politicization of the issue here. It is ironic, he says, as well as other officials who I've talked to, that some of the same parents who were so upset about putting their kids into virtual schooling are now the ones who are fighting some of these protocols, some of the most basic protocols, including masking, which is the #1 thing that we know that you can do to keep your kids safe. And so he says he hopes that with this final push, that more parents will realize that this is not about the personal politics that they may hold. This is about the safety of their children.
All right, Heidi and Catie, thank you so much for your reporting this morning. Appreciate it.